Getting the cast and whatnot on over here.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking About Survivor, the return for the new season. I'm Christiana Ellis.
And I'm Mike Mateen. I'm just loading my cast list over here.
Yeah. Today, we're going to be breaking down the castaways of the new season. Survivor Kaoh Rong, I believe, is the. I'm making up the pronunciation there.
But How wrong?
Kaoh Rong.
How wrong?
How wrong? Well, remains to be seen. Once we, I suppose if I had even watched a preview video, they probably would have said it at some point. So that just raises the question of how much preparation have we done for this? Well, in keeping with tradition, I have done none. How about you, Mike?
I'm preparing right now.
Okay, well, so what we do in the pre-show, if you guys have never watched one of our pre-shows before, is that we make snap judgments based on superficial information from all of the castaways, and we do it on a timer. If you want to see what we're seeing, you can go to cbs.com/shows/survivor/cast. And that is where you can find both pictures and biographies of the various castaways that we're going to go through. And so we usually do, what, 2 minutes on the timer, Mike?
Yes. How many people are on this one?
18.
That'll work.
All right. So what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we will pull up each biography in turn and spend 2 minutes discussing that person before moving on. Will this be an in-depth analysis of the odds of their winning and detailed understanding of their personality and background? No. Superficial, snap judgments, hot takes only.
Yes.
That just raises a question for you. Does the term hot take imply that it has to be sort of like aggressive, out there, like borderline offensive, or is it just like a snap judgment sort of thing? Because I feel like I hear it both ways.
I think of it as just something that's like it's hot, like it's now. Not that it has to be, not hot like aggressive.
See, because I feel like I've also heard it used in the context of not only timely, but like deliberately saying something sort of inflammatory.
All right, here is the official
Urban Dictionary.
Wikipedia.
Ooh.
A hot take is a journalism term derisively used to describe a piece of deliberately provocative commentary that is based almost entirely on shallow moralizing.
Interesting. So that would suggest that it does need to be deliberately provocative or inflammatory, or at least to be used the way they describe it.
Derisive term.
Yeah, well, I knew it was a derisive term. I was using it kind of ironically.
Oh, I guess I honestly hadn't used it enough to realize it was derisive.
I think this is also one of those things where it is a relatively newish slang term, or at least it's more recently popularized, even if it had been more common in journalism prior to now. But how about this? We will be making snap judgments. Hot take versions are optional.
Yes.
All right. So I've got 2 minutes on the timer, and let's see what's our what'll our timer sound be. How about that? Is that coming through on the mic?
Yep. And
great.
It's not a common sound, so it won't like make people look to answer their phones.
All right. Well, we've got 2 minutes on the clock, so let's start with our first castaway, Anna Kate. Kate, probably, but it's a KH. Start. All right. So she is 26. She's on the Beauty Tribe from Brooklyn, New York. And she is a pro poker player. Look at that.
Yeah, and she was also in the Summer Games for handball.
Handball?
The World Games last summer for handball, yes.
Okay, I was going to say, like, is handball an Olympic sport?
No.
But the World Games, front ball / handball. What? I don't know what that is. Is that like racquetball, but you hit it with your hand instead of a racket?
I mean, that's what handball is. Yeah, I've never heard it called front ball, but that must be a slang term for it somewhere, or not a slang. It must be the, what do you call it when it's a regional word? Either way, I can't remember what the term is for that, but it's basically like racquetball with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Usually played on the streets because you don't
need equipment except for just a ball.
Right, you just need the ball and the side of a building, and you can play it. So that's typically where it comes from. So that's that.
Yeah. So she says hobbies: handball, reading, singing, and playing the piano. This girl is just all over the place.
Yep. Her inspiration in life is Princess Di.
All right. She's seen Amelie, I guess. She's 26 years old. Like Princess Di. How long ago was Princess Di killed? Or, since she died? It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, so. But I suppose it's perfectly fine for her to still be inspirational. No real problem there. But, she could also maybe try to find someone. It's easier to be inspired by people who aren't still around. Whoops. And there's our timer.
Anyway, 97. So she was 7 years old when
All right.
Princess Di died.
Okay, well, good to know. We'll see if that comes up during the season. So, but it's time to move on to our next contestant, Jennifer Lanzetti.
Yes, maybe this time let's not spend so much time discussing her
handball. We're already doing it. Jennifer is 38. She's on the Braun tribe. Interesting that our last contestant wasn't. Given that she's sports, we're already talking too much about her. She's a contract. This one is a contractor. Jennifer is coming back to life after endometriosis, cancer, and drug addiction. Getting her engineering degree and starting her own construction technology company. That's her personal claim to fame. That's a lot of stuff. That's
a pretty good, strong-willed life right there.
Yeah. Her inspiration in life is Martin Luther King Jr., who also, just in case this is breaking news to anyone, also dead.
So if you could have three things on the island, what would they be and why? They didn't list why. So this is, when I read this, it's going to make sense why. I'm curious about that.
All right.
Metal detector, Snuggie, and Nutcracker.
A Nutcracker, feel like you'd need to have nuts also, or else it's less useful.
Yes.
Metal detector. I mean,
she means a metal detector like the.
Yeah, like one of those things you go around on the beach. Beep beep beep. Well, look, I found a nickel.
Not like the airport security kind, which is what I pictured at first.
Yeah. You make sure if someone has a hidden idol on them.
Yes.
So she describes herself as blunt, not fragile, and badass chick are 3 words to describe her, according to her. She has construction knowledge. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to jump to the why you think you'll survive Survivor. She says construction knowledge, love to cook and play games, fun to be around, never quit, can fast for days, and I'm a hard worker. That's an interesting claim.
Yeah.
You could fast for days.
Yeah. Although I feel like fasting is different when you could stop anytime you want.
Yes. I think we should use the rules from there's a sports TV show called Pardon the Interruption where they actually do things on a timer.
Yeah.
And once the timer goes off, they're allowed to finish the discussion only on the topic that is currently in play.
That sounds reasonable to me. So Did you have more to say about that?
I did not, but that made me think of it as that, as opposed to just cutting the conversation off, you can't bring up a new topic. You can finish the conversation back and forth. Like it's not just the person speaking and finish.
Right.
You can have a continued discussion.
That sounds good to me. Luna agrees. That's why she's barking, just in case anybody can't speak dog. All right. Next, Elizabeth Markham. Also with the silent H in her name, for those playing at home. She is on the Brains tribe. She is 27 years old, and she is a quantitative strategist, which means that she writes computer programs that forecast stock prices and trade automatically. All right. That's, that just makes me think of like Wolf of Wall Street or something.
Well, her personal claim to fame is building a blackjack card counting team that had 10 people investing $2,500 to grow to $500K. I wonder if she's part of like that famous MIT.
Yeah. Group. I feel like
that
if it was that team, it would probably say that. I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like that was earlier than she's only 27, so that would have been 5 years ago. But it was interesting because either way, like that, she is on the same level as that team. So
that's certainly an impressive thing, and it speaks to not only just being good with math, but also like sharp and quick on her feet. You know what I mean? It's not just like with a pen and paper she's good, but like also like she can do it on the fly.
Right. The application of strategy is what makes that, So yeah, you're able to make strategy quickly. So
yeah, she brings out the big guns with her pet peeves. They are racism, sexism, and homophobia, which I have to quibble with her just a little bit because although those are obviously terrible things, like that's not really what pet peeve means.
Yeah, those are things you adamantly dislike.
Yeah, my pet peeve is violent crime.
Yeah.
My pet peeve is genocide. I mean, like, that's not really what pet peeve means. But, okay, fine. Whoop. All right, well, that's a timer.
So maybe to her, these are only pet peeves. Maybe she's only mildly annoyed by racism.
Could be. Or maybe she just, she keeps her eye on the big picture. She doesn't get bogged down with the petty stuff. Yeah. So they're just, nothing any smaller than that ever bothers her.
Honestly, that joking aside, that feels more like what she's trying to say is that like I'm only bothered by big things.
Yep. So. Yep. All right. Next, trucking along. Next is Debbie Warner. I feel like I wanted that to be Warner, but it's Wanner.
You wanted that.
I want her to be Warner. All right then. So Debbie is 49. She's also on the Brains tribe. She is a chemist. And she says she is so Survivor contestant you are most like, she says, coach, period. And the copywriter helpfully added a period after both of those things. So coach, period, the punctuation mark, and then period written out as a word, followed by another punctuation mark period.
I mean, she seems like kind of a smart ass in a way that, well, I like right now, but again, we've talked about this, does this same mentality hold up under this hunger and the pressure of the game? Because her reason for being on Survivor is money because poverty sucks and money equals power. Like, and I don't think she means that. Like, I think she means that a little bit, not ironically, but I think she's being a little bit of a smartass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
she says she will be the sole survivor because, like Hannibal Lecter, I have good manners and unpleasant company.
Right. See, like I feel like she's just got kind of this
yeah
sense of humor, and hopefully that'll hold up. You know.
Her pet peeves are the idolization of garish, repugnant, and supercilious people like the Kardashians. She sure likes those big words. The 3 words to describe her are relentless, erudite, and Spartan. I think she could be really entertaining.
I think so too.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Let's see. She has military training, she says, in summer and winter survival. Oh. I mean, that's absolutely a useful skill.
Yes. So if
fire making and all.
If her sense of humor holds up, then I'm going to be a fan, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next is Alicia Holden, spelled A-L-E for some reason, because why not?
One thing I will say is that so far we've seen only women, and only one has been on the beauty tribe. But yet I feel like all of these women are attractive to a point, you know, like they have something, whether it's, you know.
Well, so, yeah, a couple of them have been are older, but still certainly, attractive women to begin with. I think just in terms of the order, I think it's alphabetical by first name.
Ah, okay.
Or am I completely making that up? No, I am completely making it up because it was Anna, Jennifer, Elizabeth, Debbie, Alicia. All right. Well, I had already started Alicia's timer, but let me reset it because we haven't really talked about her yet.
Okay.
A general observation. So starting now for Alicia, she is on the Braun tribe. She's a real estate agent. Her claim to fame is she made a bucket list of adventures she wanted to accomplish. I went out and did it. Bungee jumping in Indonesia, hang gliding in Rio, skydiving, jumped off the stratosphere in Las Vegas, face-to-face shark diving in Australia, and interacting with uncaged tigers in Thailand. All of that is really exciting stuff, but it's a little weird to say you accomplished your bucket list at 24.
Yes.
That's a lot of exciting things, but perhaps your list needs to be more expansive as a result.
Right. And here's another thing that gives me a little bit of pause. Pet peeves. Mm-hmm. People who lie and can't be straight up. I tell it how it is and expect the same. Also, negativity. I'm all about positive vibes and energy.
Those things don't.
I usually don't see those things together because usually when someone says I tell it how it is, like they mean they're willing to say it even if it's a negative thing.
Yeah, like see that feels like she's the sort of person who will tell you what she thinks with, she'll be honest even if it's something you don't want to hear. Sorry about that, but
and then upset when you're
she can't take it the other way. Yeah.
Well, and also once she tells you that thing and you feel upset that she told you something negative about yourself, it's like, come on, man, just be positive.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so what?
Just being honest. It's like constructive criticism.
Being honest, yeah. So, and she is most like Chaos Cass.
She was the last woman standing, but also brought chaos is why. Okay, she thinks she'll survive Survivor because she's the daughter of a boxing promoter. She's tough. Don't let the blonde hair fool you. I won't cry or back down. No one will break me. I'm not here to make friends. TM. I'm here to win.
Yeah.
So she's 24. She's 24, and she feels like a 24-year-old.
Yeah, not my favorite so far.
Yeah. All right. Next, Sydney Gillan. Sydney spelled C-Y-D-N-E-Y, by the way, because all the people under 25 have alternate spellings in their names. Sydney is the first of the first African American contestant we've seen so far. She is 23. She's on the Braun tribe. She is a bodybuilder, so at least that seems like a slam dunk as far as the tribe designation.
Yep.
Hobbies are sprinting, lifting and weight training, and sleeping.
Yes. I do like that her inspiration in life is her mother. That feels a little bit more grounded. I mean, she goes on to explain why, but that it's not the Princess Di who I was only 7 when she died. Like, I like that. When it's someone that you truly know.
She says she'll survive Survivor because my sense of humor will be most useful. You can't walk around looking like someone killed your dog all day. I think I will up the team morale. Beyond that, I think my athletic abilities can help win this competition. That's a tricky one because it's when people are under the stress of this game, like people who maybe are used to being funny might discover that they can't sustain that when they're low energy.
Right.
But other people, it just kind of comes out. But it seems like it's hard to tell before you actually get out there.
Right. I do like there does seem to be a little more, not that I was considering her shallow before because again, she said her mother was her inspiration, but her main reason for being on the show is to win the money to pay off medical school and to help her mother. So it seems like there's more to her than just a funny bodybuilder. You know,
she says she's most like Tony. Whoop, there's the timer. But she says she's most like Tony because his loyalty to those who really mattered was unwavering. He played the game from beginning to end. That's an interesting pick. I like that pick.
Yeah. I think she could be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Next, our first male castaway so far, Neal Gottlieb. Starting a timer. Neal is 38. He is on the Brains tribe, and he is an ice cream entrepreneur. Hopefully he will do better than the last ice cream-related player that we had. Eric. That was Eric, right?
Yes.
But, he didn't do as well. He was fun to watch, though. Anyway, Neal started the Three Twins Ice Cream Company with his life savings of $70,000 in 2005 at age 28. $70,000 worth of savings at 28 is pretty impressive already. After returning from the Peace Corps, is this not rich, you think, to start with? That doesn't necessarily mean he's not smart or successful, but I'm just thinking.
I mean, depending on how long he was in the Peace Corps, because if he wasn't paying rent.
Yeah, that's
true. Say he was in the Peace Corps for 6 years, 22 to 28, like out of college. Like,
do you make money in the Peace Corps though? Like, I wouldn't think you come out of that with a hefty nest egg. I wouldn't think.
Well, if you're in there that long and you're not paying any rent or expenses, even if you don't make a ton of money,
I guess so.
Like $70,000 of pay over 6 years, we'll just assume.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that much. I mean, that's $12,000 a year. So say he was making $20,000 and he didn't have any major expenses because he was working in the Peace Corps. You could do that.
Okay.
I don't know that's how he did it, but it is feasible.
I guess I don't really know how the Peace Corps works. But anyway, Neal says, inspiration in life. I'm not much for heroes, but the person who has come closest to obtaining hero status is my Uncle Larry, which I like already just because it's fun to say. I admire him for the deep and devoted love that he had for my aunt. Despite being a tough guy, he's never been afraid to cry or share his feelings. I admire him for his larger-than-life deeds, like finding 55 pounds of cocaine off the coast of Florida. He's a former cop and turned it in. I admired him because of his Popeye-like muscle on his forearm, which I later found out is actually a tumor, but I didn't know that as a kid. But more than anything, I have always admired him for being himself. That is amazing. I had no idea how awesome that was when I started reading that paragraph.
I mean, this is semi-related. I won't get into the content, but every one of his answers is that long.
Yeah, they are. Look at that. His bio, like his answers to all these questions, is like 3 times as long as everybody else.
Yes.
I'm excited to see this guy. He could be insufferable, but he could also be really fun. We'll have to see.
Or both.
That sometimes is it's sometimes a razor fine line between them, and sometimes they're not actually mutually exclusive.
Yes.
All right. So anyway, next we have Joseph Del Campo, who, wow, he is 72.
72.
He's on the Brains tribe, and he is a former FBI agent. Is 72 the oldest we've had? I think
feels like it's got to be close.
If it's not the oldest, it's way up there because that's impressive. Now you look at his picture though; he's buff for a 72-year-old. He looks like that guy in that like back of comic book ad.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? That one of like, oh yeah, or the infomercial, you know, just because.
Or like the thing that you get, like it's not really a Google ad, but it's like one of those like sponsored stories at the bottom of a website that you read, where it's like,
He's got 72-year-old from the neck up, and the bottom down, he looks like a 35-year-old.
Yeah,
in good shape.
Secret formula for blah blah. Yeah.
His pet peeves is just one thing: people who whine! ! His inspiration in life is St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Primarily deals with pediatric cancers. No child is denied treatment on race, religion, or family's ability to pay, which makes me think now of those ads they show before the movies. But still, that's actually that's a pretty meaningful inspiration. Excuse me. Of course, he's 72. He's not going to be like, my inspiration in life is Beyonce. Or little dogs that bark at nothing. Luna, come on. All right, sorry about that.
Chances in the game, he is strong, so that might help him, but it's going to be hard for someone who's 72. Yeah.
All right, so the timer just went off while I had muted myself because Luna was barking at a noise in the hallway. But yeah, so oh my God, Luna. Settle down a little. All right. Okay, so yes, Joseph Del Campo could be interesting. He, just by virtue of life experience, I think he will be interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's long for the game just by surely on his age, though.
Yeah, could be.
I think he'll be fine, but he's an easy target early on when people are looking for easy targets with the splintered 3 tribe thing.
Yeah.
There's only 6 people on each tribe,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So, next up, Michelle Fitzgerald. She is 24. She's on the beauty tribe. She is a bartender. Her personal claim to fame is my time at Rock the Earth, where I toured and worked with bands raising money for environmental issues. I was able to travel, listen to amazing music, and educate people about important causes. All right. Her inspiration in life is Harry Potter. That's like the joke I was making earlier when Luna was barking. That, Joseph's inspiration. Well, he's 72. His inspiration is not going to be like Beyonce or something. So, but Harry Potter works too.
Yeah, it's funny though why she chose it, or her expression of how she chose it.
Mm-hmm.
Because she talks about, we chose bravery in the face of darkness, blah blah blah, and then she goes, plus magic.
Yeah. I should also briefly add that I don't think it's wrong to find Beyonce inspirational. I was just searching for a pop culture reference is all. Her pet peeves include overpriced alcohol, close talkers, and self-important people. But overpriced alcohol is clearly the gem there. She describes herself as quirky, charismatic, and adventurous. She's got another Harry Potter reference in what she would want to bring to the island. A Harry Potter book for a little entertainment.
Yep. Positivity is why she will survive Survivor.
All right. She has watched every season, so she knows what it takes to be successful on this show. Using her charm, she thinks she can build strong relationships and lead an alliance without being viewed as aggressive. Maybe she will be viewed as naive instead, my guess, by other people. But we shall see. Sometimes these young women really do, surprise us.
Well, yeah, and she plans to use her charm like Parvati did. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Darnell Hamilton. Which, without wanting to delve too deep into stereotypes, I think maybe we wouldn't be surprised by his name that he is also African American.
No.
So again, it's just since diversity of cast is something that sometimes comes up, on these seasons. That's the only reason we're bringing it up, of course. So, but in any case, he is on the Braun tribe. He is a postal worker. And his personal claim to fame isn't as flashy as some, but it's graduating from college. It has been a long and hard road, but I did it. It was horrible in high school because I didn't give a damn, not because I wasn't smart. Now I have finished college, and not only that, I did it with a 3.47 GPA while working jobs all day and night. See, like that. that feels more meaningful to me than someone who says like, oh, I've done all of this adventure tourism.
Yes.
Just because it's something that actually takes effort when it sounds like that was meaningful to him. That he set his mind to something and he pushed hard to accomplish it.
Well, and it sounds like it was fairly recent because he says it has been a long and hard road, but I did.
Right. Well, and
saying that if he graduated 5 years ago.
Yeah, and while working jobs all day and night probably could mean that like he had to have fewer classes at a time, taking longer to graduate because you're working at the same time.
Well, and then you get a little further depth in it when his inspiration in life is, he says, growing up, I never had a hero, just examples of what not to do.
Yeah.
So, and then he goes on to say that Jesus would be his hero. But the point I'm making is that, he clearly came out of an environment where graduating college is not a common thing.
Yeah, it was not a given, to be sure. And even he says that he didn't care about school when he was in high school, and so he kind of had to come back from that attitude and kind of change that around. One last thing that I'll bring up, even though it kind of breaks the rules a little bit, is just that one of the things that if you could have 3 things on the island, what would they be? He says sunglasses so I can hide from the ugly contestants, iPod so I can turn the haters out, and pack of cigarettes. All right. Next is Kyle Jason, who is the slightly heavy man bun bearded tattooed hipster guy.
Yes. And is a bounty hunter.
A bounty hunter. He is a bounty hunter. Look at that. He is 31 years old. He is on the Braun tribe from Detroit. His personal claim to fame is, besides my family, it would be becoming an NCO while in the Army. I worked my ass off to get there, and I did it in only 3 years. He says only 3 years, so I'm assuming that means that's a good amount of time. I have no idea how that usually works.
I don't know how long that normally takes, but I feel like if he's claiming it, then it's probably good.
Yeah. Pet peeves, he says there are so many. But if I were to narrow it down, I would have to say dumb people, lazy people, and one-uppers. I think we probably have a couple of one-uppers on the cast already.
In fact, there was somebody who said one-upping people was one of his hobbies. I don't remember which one that was.
I don't remember seeing that, but yeah.
Gottlieb guy.
Yeah, could be. So Kyle says he is most like Russell Hantz because he is the only person that has ever truly played the game the way you should. The only difference is that I wouldn't wait so long making things disappear. That's hilarious and yet really wrong-headed, in my opinion, because how do you define truly playing the game the way you should for someone who didn't win twice?
Right.
I mean, and didn't win in kind of a notable way. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, he made it to the end,
but then was voted against for the final jury, which is part of the game. And so, like, when you imply that, like, oh, he played it the way you really should and then lost, implies that you only really respect part of the game.
Right.
Oop. There's that timer. All right. Next. Nick Maiorano, I'm guessing. Maiorano.
I think that's pretty close.
Yeah. He is 30 years old. He is on the Beauty tribe. He is a personal trainer. Personal claim, I'll always be a better listener than you. Meaning, I listen to people better than you do. He clarifies. I'm more interested in people than you are, and I accept people more than you do. And yes, sometimes I pretend to do these things, but at least I pretend, whereas you just check out and are narcissistic. Oh my God! Projection much? Jeez. That is like the most narcissistic thing I've ever heard a person say.
I was going to say, the irony is thick right here.
Yeah, that is crazy. I didn't have a hero last time I applied and still don't. No human is a hero. I'm my own hero because I love the person I am.
I don't know that I can take this, dude.
This guy is incredible. If you could have 3 things on the island, what would they be? Alcohol. There's nothing like a truth serum to give the other contestants. A picture of other contestants' loved ones to negotiate with. And a vacuum so people think I'm dumber than they initially thought. What? What is that? A vacuum? I don't get that.
I think he was trying to pick something that.
So that it would be dumb. So people are like, why would you bring a vacuum? You must be dumb. That sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah,
that's weird.
But it's a weird way to say so people think I'm dumber than they initially thought, because that implies they would already initially think that he's dumb.
Yeah.
And then think he's even dumber.
He says, contestant, you are most like Courtney Yates and Jonathan Penner, personality-wise, but I'm much more socially intelligent than they are. You know what? This is over the top. I am suspicious. I think this guy is putting on a show with all this crap. He is trying to be a guy that they will put on Survivor.
Well, he did mention that he applied once before.
Yeah. So we'll see what this guy is really like in practice. But this reads to me like a character. We'll see if that's what this guy is really like.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm unsure at this point.
Boy, Luna is just all over the place today. So sorry everybody for the repeated barking breaks. Next in our Castaway countdown is Scot Pollard. Scott with only one Pollard. With Scott with only one T, because sure, why not? Although he's 40, so it's not like it's not the young and different thing. Yeah. He is on the Braun tribe. He is this is the former NBA champion. That's why you knew his name right away. You corrected me. I suppose you might just know that name anyway, but you know this guy, I bet. So tell us all about Scot Pollard.
I actually did meet him. I don't know him well, but it says here, he was played for the Pistons, the Kings, the Pacers, the Cavs, and the Celtics. When I worked for the Pacers, he was on the team.
Yeah.
And he was a fan favorite because he was a hard worker. He was just a really genuine guy when you met him outside. Mm-hmm. He didn't have that NBA superhero like spotlight thing on him. He was a guy who was just kind of a grinder. So fans loved him. Cool. And he was really great with them.
You think he'll be good at Survivor?
Maybe. He reminds me a lot of who was the NFL quarterback that did fairly well? Matt Hasselbeck? No.
I feel like we've had a Hasselbeck name, but
yeah, because it was Matt. No, I think it was him and his wife, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he did all right. Mm-hmm. He was the one that tried to pretend that he wasn't an NFL quarterback, right?
Right. Yeah. I started the timer late for this guy, but so right now it's still got a lot of time left. But
I'll just kind of wrap up. Yeah. So he reminds me a lot of Matt Hasselbeck. So I'm glad that's who I'm thinking of, because he's also a guy who's sort of a journeyman. He's not like the franchise player of a team. He's a guy that works hard, and that's why he's in the position that he's in. And so we'll see how he does, but I think I feel good about it. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, I'm going to not wait for the timer to count down since it started late anyway. All right. Next, Caleb Reynolds. Timer. Caleb is 28. He is on the Beauty tribe. He is an Army veteran. Doesn't say what he is doing now. Veteran implies he's not actively in the military. Probably you're not allowed to be on Survivor when you're active in the military. That's just a guess.
I guess not. No.
But so his personal claim to fame is defending my country in war and bringing my troops home safely to their families. You know, that's another one that's like, it's straight ahead. It's not flashy, but meaningful nonetheless. You know what I mean? It's like, that's something that it's a more modest, but still like a real thing. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, is his inspiration in life. So, we'll see. Sometimes we get the really like aggressive religion people, but we'll see if that comes through. His pet peeves are texting while driving and nose picking.
Which I kind of laughed at that because we talked about how the one girl, you know, there was the poverty or, you know.
It was racism, sexism, and homophobia.
Yeah, things like, obviously these are bad things.
Yeah.
I laughed at this. This isn't nothing on him because texting while driving is starting to get to that point.
Well, it's just clearly really dangerous and reckless thing to do.
Right.
And then nose picking is like a real actual pet peeve.
Right. And I can see why texting while driving could be a pet peeve to someone who's, you know, what is he, 28? Yeah.
Well, the other thing,
I just don't like that you do that because that might be dangerous. It hasn't quite proliferated to its like.
I mean,
my pet peeve is people who drink and drive.
Yeah. I mean, I think what makes texting while driving like, oh, there's the timer. But what makes it bad is really that the people who are doing it don't think anything of it. Like, so it's almost, I could see it being a pet peeve in that sense, in the sense that the people who are doing it don't see what the big deal is. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I really think you shouldn't do that. You know, that sort of thing. I don't know. Next, Julia Sokolowski. Oh, she is 19. She is the baby of the cast this season, looks like. She is on the Beauty Tribe. She is a college student from Boston, Massachusetts. Her personal claim to fame is trip to Tanzania. I taught English to a class of 83 third graders and rebuilt and restored classrooms. I don't doubt that, but I'm also guessing that taught English to a class of 83 third graders was probably like an afternoon or maybe a week. You know, that sort of thing, which is fine. It's fine. That's still exciting. That's something a lot of 19-year-olds haven't done.
19-year-old lens.
Yeah. She hiked the base of Mount Kilimanjaro. Her inspiration in life is her 17-year-old brother, Eric. Oh, okay. See, I was all prepared to get snarky, but then he was born with a heart defect called hypoplastic left heart syndrome and has undergone a series of 4 open heart surgeries. He is a fighter and my inspiration every day. See, I was all prepared to jump on that, like, what? Her inspiration is her younger brother? But see, there's a thing there.
All right. I dig her hobbies.
Oh, yeah? Okay. She says she is most like Natalie Tenorelli because she was a young female player. Jenna Maraska and Parvati Shallow because of their ability to strategically combine sex appeal and intelligence. And Andrea Bulke, I don't remember that last name, but because she is a wholesome farm girl with big dreams. All right. She wants to win the $1 million. Sorry, go ahead.
Her hobbies are skiing, hip-hop, dancing, and flirting. And her pet peeves are slow walkers and entitled people. Like,
why not?
I mean, I feel like all of those things are things that are in my hobbies and my pet peeves. Maybe not would be the ones I would highlight 100%, but they are within them. So I like her.
All right, then. All right, so we've only got 3 left. We're just racing on through. Then next is Tai Trang, who is Asian American. He is timer. He is 51. He's on the Beauty Tribe, which okay. He is a gardener. I mean, he looks okay, but like he's a 51-year-old guy. He doesn't look great or anything. It's not an obvious choice. Maybe there's something in his bio here that makes that make more sense.
We'll see.
His inspiration in life is his parents. They worked so hard to provide for 11 of my siblings. Wow. During and after the Vietnam War, we were so poor we had to eat plain rice with soy sauce for months. Somehow they managed to get us all on a fishing boat to escape communism, and luckily we all survived 11 days on the open ocean. Wow. In an Indonesian refugee camp, my mom made and sold one cookie at a time to earn extra money for her children. They are the ones that taught me self-reliance, and my mom always reminds me, if you have health in both hands, you can never go to sleep cold or hungry. That is amazing, and yet does not explain the beauty tribe designation.
No. I have a feeling that I can understand why he's on the beauty tribe.
Okay.
It's going to sound terrible, but his bike ride raised money for the LA LGBT Center.
Oh, so he's going to be the stereotype of the season?
He will be if we're going to use stereotype names, he will be the Gaysian.
Yeah, could be. That, like, you know, that's I think one of the things that happened the last time they did these beauty brains tribes is that sometimes you have someone you really want on the show and you have to put them somewhere, like you have too many other people that are more on the brains tribe or something. But yeah,
we didn't put him in that category. Let's just be clear about that. But I feel like that's why Survivor put him on the beauty tribe, is because he's a gay man, gay older man, and that's why he's beauty.
Yeah,
that's what I feel.
No, I suspect you're right, just only on the basis that we have nothing else that would seem to justify it.
Mm.
All right. Next is Aubrey Bracco. Timer. Okay. She's 29. She's on the Brains tribe. She is a social media marketer. And her personal claim to fame is her name, which means leader of the elves. Aubrey? Okay. And the way I pursued my education with my own style, I convinced my advisors at Brown University to let me write a children's book about a manatee instead of a 50-page thesis, and went on to graduate with honors. That is someone who could talk. That's someone who can talk.
Yeah.
I like that. It's her inspiration in life is her grandmother Madeline. She dealt with a crazy Brooklyn Italian family and was a hard worker. She was the first woman of the year at the New York Daily News and never let anything get her down. She once went back to work the day after a major car accident. She also had a wacky personality. As kids, she told us she didn't eat chicken because their legs were too close to their butts. I like her already.
Yeah.
She describes herself as beguiling, intuitive, and relentless. She thinks she'll survive because she's a hard worker who never gives up, and she'll entertain people by pulling a Greg Buis and being a weirdo. I don't feel like I remember him. People would think I was doing this to be funny and pass time, but I'd actually be extracting key details. After living in Salem, Massachusetts during several Halloweens, I've learned to embrace my quirkiness and work with outlandish personalities.
I could see that.
Yeah. She wants to bring crayons, preferably a 64-pack with a built-in sharpener, naturally, to hold an art therapy session to calm everyone down. Plus, they smell good. Crayons do smell good. I feel like I appreciate that detail.
Yeah. She's interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Last but not least, Peter Bagenstos. He is 34. He is on the Brains tribe. He is an ER doctor. He looks perhaps mixed race.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yep. His personal claim to fame is, I am multinational. My father is from Switzerland and mother is from Jamaica.
I would guess that would be mixed race.
Yeah. He is a Swiss citizen. Interesting, but he lives in Minneapolis. I wonder if Switzerland is one of those places where you can have dual citizenship. There are some places like that.
Um,
Or maybe he is just Swiss and he lives in America.
Yeah, because I think there are places like that, but we're not one of them.
Yeah, you're right. The U.S. kind of wants you to. I think that's right.
You have to rescind wherever else you are in order to get U.S. citizenship. Yeah.
I wonder if he has an accent. His inspiration in life is kind of vague. People who live an extraordinary life on a daily basis. We talked about what's his name, Neal, who all his answers were really long. This guy is like the opposite.
Yeah.
All of his answers are very brief, to the point.
His pet peeves are
bros, and bombastic people. He's a reserved guy, maybe. His reason for being on Survivor is, I am the most capable, period. I am smart, athletic, and good with words, period. I want to challenge myself in a new and dynamic environment.
So good with words that I am succinct.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to start the timer. Sorry about that, everyone. I think we've probably done 2 minutes, but do you have a last thought?
No, I like why he thinks he'll be or he will survive Survivors, that he has an uncanny knack for getting a group of people to back him up.
And then says, I can immediately turn around and blindside them.
So he's basically saying, I'm a good leader, but in this scenario, I'm willing to exploit that.
Yeah.
And if he does that well, that can work.
Yeah, it certainly can. All right. So those are our 18 contestants for the upcoming season of Survivor Kaoh Rong, which, as previously mentioned, is a brains, beauty, brawn setup. I hope that the theme works better than last time. Yep. Last time was weird in that it kind of forced everybody to try to really embody whatever the gestalt of their archetype was, which felt awkward in some places, and just, I don't know. I mean, it's fine, but it was not my favorite theme that we've ever done.
No.
And it's almost weird that you feel like sometimes they have to do the themes that aren't as good just so that they're not doing the good ones every time and making them get old.
Exactly.
I feel like it's been a while since we had old versus young. But maybe because that makes it more difficult for the physical challenges, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't feel like that one's worked very well. So
yeah. So who are the standouts for you? Anyone? As we've just gone through, spending only 2 minutes on everybody, or who still stands out?
Well, standouts as sort of my favorites. I like two of the beauty. I like Anna, who is the pro poker player. Mm-hmm. And I like Julia just because she has similar hobbies to me. No other reason than that. Sure. I like Elizabeth from the Brains because she was she also has the poker background. Mm-hmm.
Or Blackjack was hers.
Or Blackjack, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I am curious about Jennifer from the Bronze Tribe, who is the contractor, but seems to have a little more to her.
Right, she's the one that had endometriosis and cancer and drug addiction.
Yes, so I have a curiosity about her. Mm-hmm. I am curious about Nick, just because he's so over the top.
Yeah. It almost seems too shiny in terms of how over the top it is.
Yes. But I am curious about Scot Pollard, just to see how he plays into all this. And I am curious about Neal to see if he is funny or annoying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I definitely thought Neal's answers were exciting, and I expect him to be good TV, whether it's on the side of being someone we love to hate or just someone who's awesome and funny. I'm kind of interested also to see Joseph Del Campo, who's the 72-year-old, just on the basis that the older players on this show, we've sometimes seen them just be awesome, and then sometimes not as much. Like they get out there and they're just cranky and then get voted off early.
Yeah, I do like that his not inspiration, but the Survivor player that he thinks he's most like is Tom. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also has short white hair.
Yes.
They're
but it's twins. One of the older players that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Although I think Tom was only like 50s?
But this guy basically looks like he's a guy in his 50s. So,
yeah. I also like Aubrey. I'm interested in her. She's got some interesting stuff going on in her bio there too. Just she seems like she's got some quirk to her, and she's got a knack for interesting details. And like you kind of covered some of the other stuff we've talked about in terms of little details that stood out. So, will our snap judgments have any bearing whatsoever on what these people are actually like on the show? Who can say? Probably not, if our track record is to be held up.
Yeah, and I don't see somebody that I could just look at this stuff and say that's a favorite. Yeah. I can tell you people I don't think are going to do well. Like I think Alicia is not long for this game.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm not 100% positive is long for this game.
Yeah, Kyle strikes me as one of those guys who's probably kind of always making jokes in real life, but is just going to turn kind of sullen and cranky when he doesn't get food.
Right. He feels like the kind of guy who makes jokes to cover up, like, instead of being an asshole and cranky, he makes jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a situation where you're in a little bit of stress, they stop being funny and you just become a cranky asshole.
Right.
But let's see.
Well, and then if it turns out that Nick is actually like his bio reads, then
yes, that's
going to be really hard to take.
Red is like the most shallow, so we'll see how they play out.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, Alicia, and Michelle. Like obviously, I already covered Alicia.
So here's another just thing I kind of just randomly noticed about Nick. Look at his teeth. He looks like a vampire. Not really aggressive, but he still has his canines. Yeah,
he has canines.
Yeah, they kind of extend past his incisors, and he looks a little bit like he's got, subtle vampire fangs. Wouldn't that be funny? Survivor's first vampire contestant. It'd probably be a real disadvantage during the daytime challenges.
Yes, it would.
I mean, they get sunscreen, but even still. See, now I want to see that. I want to see like a Survivor competition with all different kinds of monsters and stuff. Supernatural creatures. Okay, so anyway.
You do know vampires aren't real, right?
Oh, well, doesn't mean you can't have them in a show.
It's a reality TV show.
Yes, a reality TV show.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, and vampires aren't real.
That works too. But so in any case, we're almost here. The premiere kind of snuck up on us a little bit. I know that I only realized last week that it was so close. For some reason, I was thinking it wasn't until March. But the premiere is going to be this Wednesday, the 17th, at 8/7 Central on CBS, as always. That's another Wednesday season. It's been on Wednesday for a while, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think for 2 or 3 years, not even just seasons.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So in any case, what we'll see once the season gets started, we'll get a better look at all these folks and get going.
We'll see if they bring any other crazy twists and whatnot.
I will say that I feel like the last couple of seasons there was a lot of preseason hype of like, this turns out to be one of the best seasons ever, and I don't feel like I've heard that this time, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it doesn't seem like that's the direction they're going with some of the pre-hype this time.
Yeah, which, to be fair, last season was one of the best seasons.
Yeah. Well, and you also don't want to oversell that point. You know what I mean? Like if you say it every time, it's going to stop meaning anything, even if it's true.
Yep.
All right. Well, we shall see. So thank you, everybody, for watching and or listening. And we'll be back after the premiere.